What's your opinion on how the world is changing?
The world is shrinking, and the balance of what people have around the world is very uneven.
How has social media affected the world?
I suppose it brings people who are farther apart, who live in different countries, together. Like families can connect to families across the world, but then at the same time, people who are right here and in front of you, you maybe not speak to as you would have done years ago, because we're all sat on our phones and social media, and a lot of people live their lives through it, and it can have a massive effect on especially the younger generation.
How has social media affected the world?
It's made people easier to communicate, but it has taken the art of conversation away, I think. Instead of talking to each other, people communicate through the text and stuff like that.
This vote happening later this month, definitely.
Yes, we are going to hold the vote. You said it was due to be next week. Actually, the debate starts next week, and the debate will carry on into the following week. But we will be holding the vote. What we'll be setting out over the next few days is a sort of assurances, is measures in three areas. The first is measures that will be specific for Northern Ireland. The second is a greater role for Parliament as we take these negotiations into the next stage for our future relationship. And the third, and we're still working on this, is further assurances from the European Union to address the issues that have been raised.
If the House of Commons votes for a second referendum, would you implement that as Prime Minister?
In my view, there should not be a second referendum. Now,
but if Parliament says that's what should happen...
Let's just look at what you're saying in terms of Parliament having a second referendum. As I said earlier, what we see in Parliament is some people who are advocating a second referendum because they want to stop Brexit. Now, we've also got some people, on the opposition, the chairman of the Labour Party, Ian Lavery, has said that this would be disrespectful to those people who went out and voted leave. It would divide our country. It would, I believe, and practically, actually, you couldn't get a referendum in time before the 29th of March. You'd be talking about extending Article 50. We're already nearly 3 years from the vote to leave the European Union. I think we should be leaving the European Union and delivering on that vote.
How has social media affected the world?
Social media has affected the world as in it popularises people's almost self-doubt in themselves and how they feel that they need to connect with something that really has started off as a fad and now is taken far, far too seriously.
What's your opinion on how Brexit is going to change the UK?
Brexit is going to change the UK in a big way, especially for farmers and people wanting to live in Europe and having to change all their passports and stuff like that. It's going to cost a lot of money for people.
Do you think the world is changing in a good or bad way?
I think the world is changing in a more, should I say, selfish way, and sadly the people that are left behind become invisible.
Would you be comfortable sharing with us the name of the hotel you stayed in last night?
No.
If you've messaged anybody this week, would you share with us the names of the people you've messaged?
Senator, no, I would probably not choose to do that publicly here.
I think that may be what this is all about. Your right to privacy, the limits of your right to privacy, and how much you give away in modern America in the name of, quote, connecting people around.
Throughout this film, I've asked various people 5 different questions, and all had different answers. So, the thing I wanted to do was add more to the video with my input on these questions, So, one of the questions is, how do you think the internet has affected the world? Me? It's affected my life in a massive way, because I spend my life on the internet. It's not just about being able to connect with people, it's about being able to escape into that realm of just your own, you're always on your own. The second question is, what's your opinion on how the world is changing? In certain parts of the world, the world's changing in a good way, such as the economy, but in the UK for my generation, because of Brexit, it doesn't change any way whatsoever, and it changes in such a bad way because no one knows what's actually happening. Third question, what's your opinion on how Brexit is going to change the UK? Sort of in a bad way, because Theresa May doesn't really know what she's doing. So it changes it in all political way more than anything else, for my generation especially, because older people voted for leave without thinking what was going to actually happen. How has social media affected the world? It's made the world a lot easier. It's made businesses a lot easier. It's made networking a lot easier. And it's changed young kids' lives effectively. But is it a good way? Yes and no, because sometimes you don't need that. You need some little bits. And the last question is, do I think the world's changing in a good or bad way? I'd say in a good way, because life's looking up, not just for me, for other people as well, but also life's looking down on certain people. So you've got to think about it that way.